I think is very, very strong. Ritu Arora joins us, CIO, Canara HSBC OBC Life Insurance. Ritu, rather getting into why we are here, let's understand where do we go from here. Markets are down 10-12% already from the recent highs. How much more downside is still open?
Thanks for having me on the show. Much easier to discuss why we are here rather than where we'll go from here, a million-dollar question. Personally, I agree with Ashwini, and he just spoke before me. I think over the immediate future, I would think markets could correct a bit more, consolidate, pause. Time correction has already been underway now. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market gave away another 4-5%. Over long term, 3 years, 5 years, definitely money to be made. So it's a good entry opportunity. We will see stock sector rotation, and it gives us opportunities to build portfolios, rebalance average costs with a long-term perspective.
So Ritu, what sectors does one look at? Because it seems like it's an across-the-board correction, at least today. And even if we were to go further lower from here, it's going to be across the board. Would there be any safe haven, any pocket to hide?
I agree with you. It's been across the board, and large caps have corrected sharply. I prefer to again go back to the strategy where one has a balanced portfolio, because I think next 2 quarters also corporate earnings may not have stellar results to demonstrate. We should start seeing an improving trajectory from around second quarter of financial year 16. But until then, there'll be sharp rotations in stocks and sectors, and hence a balanced portfolio with quality in it, where there's earning visibility, is the way I'd like to position. If I had to pick sectors, then I still like private sector banks, I like IT, I like auto anchs, I like consumption. So it would be a balanced portfolio of these stocks.
Ritu, how big a concern is the turnaround in crude prices? I mean, last night it was 60 and we're already at 61.50 thereabouts. What's the chatter telling you? Do you think that it could be a turnaround of sorts in crude prices? And if that were to be the case, it's definitely not going to benefit India.
Needless to say, India a net importer, and our fiscal deficit as well as inflation is very closely pegged with how the crude moves, and crude has already appreciated almost 30%. It worries me, but having said that, global demand hasn't come back in a significant way, and hence unparalleled recovery in crude looks a little questionable to me. Difficult to predict, but I would like to believe that it should stabilize somewhere here or up another few percentage and should not continue to rally.
So what really could be the turning point? Right. So what really could be the turning point or trigger point for the market? What will take the markets away from this, declining phenomenon?
I think at this point in time, market is oscillating. As we all know, it moves between greed and fear. And at this point of time, I think anxiousness has set in. There's a lot of concerns. And we are counting our worries rather than our blessings. So while a lot of macroeconomic fundamentals are in place, I think the key thing that market will look out for would be a return of growth, be it GDP or corporate earnings. The results, as we all know, have been very tepid. We've seen about half the Nifty has declared results, and about 10% fall in revenue and about 13% fall in PAT. And I think that worries market, besides all the other factors like currency depreciating, interest rate may not be coming off in a hurry. So all those monsoons are not playing as we would like it to. So all those add to the worry, but I think the core and fundamental issue remains earnings. We are at about 17 times FY16 and 15 times FY17, which is not an inexpensive market. It is at average valuations, and hence there is a little more room for correction and to catch its breath before we see an improvement and trigger upwards.
It's a good chatting with you. Really good having you on the show and putting all that correction that we're seeing today in some perspective. Let's see what the market is up to. So we're back at that 8100 mark, 8134. So definitely taken support at that low point. But a 3% correction is what you're witnessing for the broader markets. 170% lower for the small cap index, and the mid caps as well are shaving off about almost 400 points as we speak. Let's take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to get you some more perspective on the markets.